Let's get started. Herr Müller ist sehr altmodisch gekleidet. Let's take a look at the verbs. Second position is ist. Doesn't give much information, so we look at the end, gekleidet. And if you look at gekleidet, we can identify, if we know what to look for, the word Kleid, which means dress. Yeah, it's a neuter word if you want to learn the gender. And the verb that we can create from this is kleiden, which nowadays is a bit too high a register to be used daily, and it means to dress. Yeah, so originally somehow to dress yourself was related to wearing a dress, it seems. So gekleidet simply means dressed. And how is Herr Müller dressed? He is dressed in an alt, old, modisch, Mode. Mode means fashion. Yeah, so old-fashioned way. Sehr, you remember, means very. And now the author describes how. So remember, he trägt, tragen, remember the glasses. Yeah. So of course we're talking about fashion, so he wears. And brown is very simple. It sounds like English, so brown. Yeah, and maybe the AU in German might at times just be replaceable by OW, and then you can play around and figure out which word it is in English. Well, jacket is not necessarily a jacket. Let me see what the dictionary says. That was another thing. Well, yeah, well, let's say it's jacket then. Not that important. The Germans also have a word called Jacke, and there's a difference between these. Jacket is a bit finer, and Jacke is rather kind of a, yeah, well, the tool fails me here. It's more of a everyday coat, so it's not necessarily that posh. So he wears a brown jacket or jacket. Oh, actually I didn't want to delete this because we need this, because now we are referring to it. Das ihm ein bisschen zu groß ist. So here's the verb, and it's at the end because of this word here. It's after a comma. So this das here, again, there is no capital letter word following. It means that, but this is a special that. We have two that's, possibly more even. But the that with one S after a comma usually means it refers to the thing that was immediately in front of the comma. So the das is just basically repeating jacket without having to write jacket. Yeah. So basically what you see here would be this, but we don't write this one. Yeah. And if we did this, we would have to put the verb somewhere else. So by eliminating this, we have to push the verb to the end. We talk about these words, these I call pusher. That comes later. So that is ein bisschen zu groß. The ihm we can ignore. Ihm, ihn, ihnen, ihn, you know, and that was him or his. Yeah. So this might be something the same. Ihm actually is pretty easy. You see, ihm is the same in English. It's just the H goes a step to the left. So that him, a bisschen is a lovely word. Chen, you know, for Mädchen, and Örtchen, yeah, little, and bis come from beißen, to bite, and therefore this is the bite. So a little bite, which you know as a little bit. Yeah, so we have double A here, but this is just a translation. So, zu groß, zu 99%, if not 100% is always to. And you remember gross? What was gross? I forgot what it was, but I think big gardens are gross, or gross. Sorry for my pronunciation, it's the influence of my native language. So, big. So it's a bit too big. Let's see what's next. Darunter einen dünnen Pullunder. Well, pullunder is the opposite of pull over. Yeah, you can see pull under, pull over. I don't even picture this. It seems really like an old person's way to dress, but don't take me for it. It might actually come back to fashion at one point. So darunter you see again unter and under, you see how related they are. So the da is irrelevant. You can always ignore the da if it's connected to a preposition like unter, and the r is just to connect the a with the u. So under a dünn. Well, the d you might remember so often changes into th in English. And then we have this word here. And we're talking about stuff like this. So that can be thin. Dünn and thin. You see the relation. So under what? Under that. Yeah? The da here actually is a bit short for das, and that means that. So that under that. A thin pullunder. Again, look up what a pullunder is. Could also be pullover. Actually, one more time. Yeah. Let's stick to that. So, and here we have the same as before. Here we need a comma, because this word here, you see there is no capital letter, so it is not an article, and it's again that. And on top, we've learned auf means on top, and on top, of course, of that, or on top of which, a, and you have groß again, big, Katze, Gesicht. Gesicht is an interesting thing. So Katze, it's the same in English, cat. And Gesicht again contains the word Sicht. And remember that was sight. And GE usually means a kind of agglomeration of certain things and then a higher category. So anything you use for your sight, yeah, and that is your face. So Gesicht means face. And here something is stuck. You can already see this stick stuck. But here sticken is a kind of handicraft. Let's look this up. Embroidered or stitched is the better word, because it looks much more like the German one. Yeah. So we have stitched and is irrelevant. So these two verbs are actually giving us the meaning. So on top of that pullover, there's a big cat stitched on it. And that's a guy who takes care of 2 pugs, right? So just that you notice the ist is at the end because of this word here, the pusher. And we explain this in the course much later, don't worry about it. A bit more fashion. Dazu eine rot-blau karierte Hose und schwarze Schuhe. So you don't really need to go into that much detail here. I give you Hose. Yeah, imagine a garden hose. I actually imagine that I'm currently wearing pants made of garden hoses. It's very fashionable here in Berlin. So that means pants. And it's always singular. We don't wear several Hosen. So pants makes no sense for us. But very likely it's referring to the 2 tubes in which you put your legs. Yeah, so that's why in English it might be plural, but in German it's only one pants we wear. So it's always singular, die Hose. And schwarze Schuhe, Schuh, well, if I say it, you possibly already know it. Shoe or show. Shoe. Sounds the same. Schwarz. I don't know, there's an actor called Jason Schwartzman, right? Or even Schwarz. So, but he's not a black actor, but his name means black. So, Schwarz means black. Kariert we just ignore for now. Rot, you might remember already, and blau we've done as well. Ein bisschen komisch sieht er schon aus. Remember we had aussehen before. It is related to seeing, but it's how other people see you, so how things look. Yeah. So bisschen we just had, a little bite. Komisch we get to in a minute. So he looks he. Schon you can ignore. So komisch is almost like English, komi, and we can actually put the thing here, comic, comical. Yeah, he looks a bit comical. Well, comical is not the right translation. Komisch means kind of weird in German. Yeah. You could say the situation is komisch, which then means it's funny. So maybe we say funny because in English that also has two meanings, right? A joke can be funny, but also people can look funnily. So funny is the better translation. Yeah. But if someone says komisch, I would say weird. Wolfgang Müller bittet die beiden einzutreten. Die beiden, our favorite word. Remember, if it's with D, it ends in en. So the Bidens are entering Wolfgang Müller's home. And you remember the Bidens means simply both of them, which refers here to Simone and Stefan. This is a lovely word. Bittet, the base form of the verb, the infinitive is bitten. Literally it would be to bid. I bid you to come inside, but in this case it means to ask. Yeah, and in German we would have darf ich dich bitten, may I ask you to do something in a very polite manner. And what is he asking from the two detectives? Einzutreten. Ein, we've maybe learned, means to inside or in, to. The zu, we translate as to, and treten, well, I think there might have been, literally means kick. Yeah, so to kick inside, and what that means is to kick your legs forward one by one to enter. Don't worry, Germans don't kick in your door if you ask them to come inside, but this is where it comes from, treten. Yeah, I have tret. There's another word, tret, roller, and that is what kids use when they are young. It's basically a skateboard with a little thing to steer it. I'm not sure what that is. It's a scooter. At least the electro version of that is called a scooter. And, well, they call it a pedal scooter. Yeah. So what you do with these is you kick, basically, with your legs in order to move forward. Good. So Mr. Müller asked them to enter.